Welcome to this first ever episode of the podcast, The Body Heals Itself. This isn't solely a podcast about physical healing, but it's really about remembering and tapping into the infinite intelligence and wisdom that lies within ourself, that is accessible through our body. I'm Jessica Rebecca and your host on this journey within. In this first ever episode, I would love to talk about the trap of being too sensitive. It's a trap who I know very well myself, as I think I've lived for like 20 years in this trap of like to so sensitive and sensing all the emotions from others. I'm an empath. There's like I'm sensing all these energies and it's like too much. And so I built most of my life around having strategies around it to manage my sensitivity instead of fully tapping into it. And the reason why I chose this as a first topic is really, as I said before, I lived 20 years in this trap. It was like for me very clear from a young age on, from like teenage, like when I started to become a woman, teenage years, that I felt that I'm different than others. And I read a lot about it. I went a lot to the doctor then as well because I felt like I had anxiety and panic and I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't like a diagnosis because there is no diagnosis to being too sensitive because everyone is sensitive. So much just getting more attuned to it. But even thinking that you are different than others because you are more sensitive or that you think you are too sensitive or more sensitive than others is already a trap because everyone in this world is sensitive and they're getting more and more people who are coming into this realization, tapping into their sensitivity. And for me, it was always like I tried to numb my sensitivity. I didn't want to have it because I felt something was wrong with me. It was a trap I built myself. There was no one out there telling me that I was too sensitive. I made that belief about myself based on my experience. I felt like I can't go out as much as my friends do. It's like too much for my systems. Or when I worked long hours, I needed a much longer recovery period than others did. And so I tried to numb it with like different methods. I would say even with like mindfulness training practices was something I tried to numb it because I wanted to control my sensitivity. And obviously there are other methods of how to numb your sensitivity. For me, it was also like partying a lot. I just didn't want to feel. I somehow felt I'm sensing so much. No, it's actually sensing. It's not feeling. a sense like so much. But on the other hand, I was like, I'm not feeling anything. And so by like padding, I had this kind of like numbing my sensitivity by kind of chasing a high. This was a trap I was in for a long time because I was too sensitive and something that I was different than others. And obviously also this thought of something is wrong with me. But I think even the thought of thinking I'm different than others is more dangerous because then we create a bigger separation between others. Or just going always into this wanting to understand and learn more about being sensitive, how to live as a sensitive person. It's just being alive, just live and explore what feels good to you and embrace the sensitivity. If something out there reacts within your system, because that's what it means being sensitive. You sense it in your system, you sense it energetically, but how do you sense it? You sense it through your body. So the biggest skill there is to connect to your body so you're able to sense the sensation in your body, in your system. And not just energetically trying to move around the energies, but it's actually like letting it move through you because everything you're sensing is something within you. Like it attracts it. So life is a mirror. Everything you're sensing on the outside. If you think, oh, it's a toxic environment, there is something within you that attracts it. So it's always to go within, like that we sense this. That we sense this through being so sensitive. It's a gift because then we can truly turn inward and go and have a look for ourselves. What's that is being activated within my system. And as I said before, it was like 20 years I lived my life in this trap of, oh, I'm too sensitive, I'm different. For me, it was also I'm too weak, I'm wrong, and something is wrong with me. This trap can have many faces. So just being aware of that. And I think now it's getting even more popular also. I'm going to call it the corporate world. So it's not only like in the spiritual world, but like everyone is in their sensitivity and empath, but especially like in the corporate world. And they try to control it. Like most of the people, when they start this, oh, I'm sensitive, they try to control it with their mind. But sensitivity is not something in the mind. It's not something to be controlled. It's something to experience in your whole body, in your whole being. It's through really, really sensing, and from sensing going deeper to feeling it, that what you are sensing. And so when you're tapping more and more into this sensitivity, you're starting to sense more things, more energy, other people, maybe the environment, maybe the noises. It's getting more and more. But the thing is, when you're truly able to embrace this sensation and go into this feeling, it alchemizes it quickly. And hence you are living. So it's not something where you're like, oh, I'm sensitive, so I can't go partying. Because that's something I told myself for a long time. It's like, oh, it's too much if I go partying, or if I'm doing this, if I'm spending so much time with friends. Like I try to control my life according to my sensitivity because I thought it makes me feel better. And it's somehow like this trap is so good. It makes you believe it's actually working, but you're controlling it. You're not fully in your sensitivity. You're not fully experiencing life. Because what I realized, it was still like, I felt still like kind of a prisoner in my own body or being, because it was exhausting to always think of, oh, like planning or controlling, like that my boyfriend gets up at a certain time so I can have my whole morning by myself because I was sensitive. I needed time by myself to feel myself. And that's something that's so important for me to, have a check-in in the morning with myself. It doesn't matter. For someone, it's maybe in the afternoon or evening. Like I truly believe it's something really, really crucial to have these check-ins with yourself. But I was like clinching to this morning practice by myself, alone, no distraction, no voice noises, sorry. And obviously, when I moved in with my boyfriend, I was so scared to move in with him because I was like, oh, it's too much when he always comes home and his energies, oh my gosh, my system was already reacting so badly before it. I was so scared of it. And when I moved in with him, it was also that his apartment was not the quiet one. It was really, there was a lot of children in this place, in this apartment building. It's very easy that you can hear other people in the apartment. Sometimes there's a bit of music at night. You can hear the street, like the cars. And it's like, oh my God, I need to move out of this apartment. We have to find another apartment. But I really, really came to this realization that it's not, this is a provision by life, by God, that I'm in this apartment. It's a gift to me, so I can really tap into myself. I can use all that I'm sensing in this apartment, all the noises, all this uncomfortable, like, oh, I can't, it's not quiet enough, I need nature, I need calmness. This apartment was a really, really big teacher for me, because I was like really embracing then the noises from the neighbors, from the streets, like, okay, thank you, I'm here and I'm loving it. And now I feel so at home in this apartment, even though I know it's coming to an end now that I feel comfortable. But it was so good for my sensitivity to realize it's not that I need this and that and that. It's actually like I can always create it within myself if I go within through that what I'm sensing. And so it's also like while I worked in an office, I always felt like, oh, it's so much with all the people, the open office. I had a burnout. I blamed it on my sensitivity. It was really bad. It took me a year to recover. from this burnout. And from there, I was like really strict with my meditation, my yoga, like making sure I only meet 2 friends a week so my system isn't overwhelmed. It's like I'm never going back into corporate. But I went back into corporate because also there it was a lesson again for me to learn to really create this stability within myself, to create these more embodied boundaries. And it's not through practices, it's really through living and going into a situation that make you so scared. And so when I went back into the corporate consulting world, I obviously had to work again in open office. And then as I realized it more and more that like life is a mirror, I started to embrace all of that as well. Like, okay, I'm here and I'm working with that. That's what I'm here for, to live, to experience. And it was so good within my body to establish this embodied boundaries, like this embodiment of myself and my sensitivity, and realizing I can actually do that and feel good. I don't need to run away from it. I don't have to control it or like be afraid of, oh, I have to go to the office today. But I can truly, truly embrace it. Obviously, it was also a lot about also voicing things where I really was like, it's this distinguish between, oh, it's fear where I have to go in, or it's a clear no. And when you practice that, you will start to realize what it is. Is it fear? So fear, it's a yes, go there. Is it resistance? We lean into the resistance. If it's a clear no, it's just quiet. It's like, but otherwise it's rather a bit loud. And I always felt like all this fear, it's like my intuition telling me it's not for me. But it's actually provision from life to be able to, I want to even say fine tune your sensitivity. Because when you identify as a sensitive person, especially like, oh, I'm so sensitive, like these beliefs, really go into these beliefs. What is it? Is it I'm too much? It's too much. I'm too much. I'm sensing too much. I'm an empath for all these people. I need so much time for myself. And obviously there are people who need more time for themselves, and that's always good, but that's like then who you are. And also this thought of like, oh, I now need more time for myself to recharge my energy, to feel good. This can be such a trap because it can be so beneficial to go and be with other people, to recharge, to feel the joy, to spread the joy. It's not about controlling it to fit in, but to fully like exhale in this situation, land in your body, land in your being. And it's especially, as I mentioned before, I think that's why it's the reason why this is the first episode. It's so close to my heart. It was like 20 years. I was like, I'm in this trap of being so sensitive, being different. And there's more voice getting around this sensitivity. There are people who diagnose you as being sensitive. And it just creates this separation. And again, in this control, it's like looking on the outside for a solution, but everyone is different. And there are different tools to tell you what kind of personality you have, like human design, which is so comprehensive, also with energy, and so many more. So it's really about finding out for you what it means to be sensitive, because we are all sensitive. You are not different. And yes, you can then say, but I sense that this person, like I sense that this is not a good environment, and others just keep on doing. Yes, but they have a different level of sensitivity. And maybe they're not yet in tune with their sensitivity as much as you are. That doesn't make you different from them. And especially when it comes to leadership, entrepreneurship, it can be, first of all, it can be something that hinders you because you're thinking, oh, I'm too sensitive. I can't do all of that work. Like, as I said before, it's like, it's then too much if I have to hold all of that. A team, like, I can't even do that. It would be too much for me. So you're looking to keep yourself small. But it can be such a gift when you're in tune with your sensitivity in a leadership role. Especially, it's so crucial to get more in tune with your sensitivity. If you identify as being sensitive or not, again, everyone is sensitive. Because then You can attune with your people you are here to guide, to lead differently. It's not about everyone individually, but more like in a collective way to move them. And for that, you have to be in tune with your own sensitivity and be aware of, like, really, it's through trial and error where you learn, through living life. It's not through reading another book about this means that's what it means to be sensitive. Oh yes, this is me and this is me, and I need to do that and that in order for my sensitivity more. No, it's everyone is different. And that's what your sensitivity is here for, to tell you what's good for you, to attune you with your life experience. It's always about going within. Maybe it's to release something, maybe it's to unravel something, to remember something. This is what your sensitivity is here for. Like, your body knows, because your body knows what's best for you, and your sensitivity is guiding you there. It's not in the mind to control it about certain tools or methods to adhere to for your sensitivity. No, it's really embracing it. And there's no one out there, if you think like, oh, I'm so sensitive, these people are so toxic, it's not good for my system. There's a reason why these people are in your surroundings. Go within and look within yourself. What makes you sense this toxic thing? And this triggered me so much when I started to realize. I was like, no, but I'm so sensitive. I'm different. Like, I know so much. My intuition is so on point. Like, there's something wrong with them. They're toxic or whatever. They don't get me. Like, they don't have this sensitivity. No, it's really always within yourself, and they're all a gift to you. Every situation is a gift. And the more you embrace that, the more you go into this uncomfortable sensation, these uncomfortable things you're sensing, the more joy, the more pleasure, the more love you will experience. Because the more you try to control your sensitivity, the more you control your life experience and what you're feeling. Because that's what we're here for. We are here to feel through our body, live life, experience life fully, to let life move through us. And for me, it was definitely about when I was in this trap of being too sensitive, that I tried to manage and control it. Like, I put it all kind of within me, put like little caps on everything, and minimized myself and my whole life experience. And I was still not feeling very good. In the best days, I was saying like, yeah, I'm feeling good today, but I was always scared that my sensitivity would kick in. And I'm like, oh, I'm sensing again so much. It's, yeah, too much. So I think there's a huge trap out there of I'm too sensitive, especially now that it's getting more mainstream, where you hear people talking about it or writing books about what it means being, I think it's even the word being hypersensitive. And I think it's just a limitation you then put on yourself instead of truly using that, what you're sensing, to go within, because there's a reason why you sense that. There's a reason why you get so triggered by noises. There's a reason why you get triggered by certain smells so badly. Like, for me, it is in the car with like, then you have the automatic car wash thing, which smells like lemon, and driving, it's like, my gosh, it's too much. And they're always like, no, we can't use it. I don't care if you don't see out the window, don't use it. I'm so sensitive to it. I can like smell it. It makes me sick. Oh my gosh, no. It was just like, the more I used every discomfort or every sensation I sense and used it to feel it in my body, to go within for this sensation, these things just kind of fell away. Like, it's not something that I think about anymore or bothers me. And now I even meditate at home in the morning, and it's okay if someone washes the dishes, the pans click on it. It doesn't bother me anymore. It's not reacting within my system. I embrace it because it helps me to attune more within myself. And it's all, I think one of these turning points regarding that was in the book from Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk, where he says, oh, because he always said like, oh, also he needs a quiet monastery to meditate. But then he went to New York, and it was a challenge for him to meditate at Times Square, and he managed it. And I was like, yes, this is it. And this made truly the shift, especially when it came to meditation. Obviously, it's nice to go outside in nature and meditate there, but life isn't quiet. We can't control life. We can create it, yes, but we can't control it. Because when you control it, you're not fully living. And I think that's the biggest gift we have when you're already more attuned to sensitivity, because you can live life fully. You can live it more. You can sense so much and let it move through you. It's like a whole flood of things, of bliss and everything that comes through. The more you attune to your sensitivity, you more embrace everything in life instead of trying to control it or being kept in this trap of being too sensitive, no matter what it means for you. So I really invite you to explore, if this resonates with you, of being sensitive, or especially thinking, oh, I'm so sensitive, or I'm too sensitive. Dig a little deeper there. What are other beliefs you have there? And what are the things you do to try to control it? Is it reading a lot of books about it? Is it reading a lot of books about energy to try to understand it, to try to manage it, to control it? I think one point here is also regarding the external factors, even more in a collective sense. So regarding, for example, the 5G antenna, if you're sensitive, there are a lot of people who attune to that, who sense when they turn it up. And for me, it's especially like I sense a lot in my solar plexus. So that's where I also sense this 5G antenna. Then a lot of people like blaming the 5G antenna. I'm not saying that they are good at all. It's not about good or bad in general, never. It's never about good or bad. But there's a reason why they are here. And I also believe that they're a gift for us if we are sensing it, to go more and deeper within, to become more embodied. The more embodied you are, the less these things can distract you. Because what happens when you sense something, you sense it in your body, it creates a reaction in your mind. Your mind comes in and makes up all these stories. So it's all stored within your body that actually reacts to something on the outside. So this is why it's so important to work with what comes up in your mind, but also what comes up in your body, because we can't fully transform if we are not looking at both aspects. And for me, again, if you identify as being sensitive, it's so easy when you sense it in your body. It's such an easy access to go deeper, to see, why am I sensing this Chi antenna so much? Or why am I reacting to this? So that's also my invitation for you to get more in tune of what are you actually sensing and what are you reacting to, and what happens then in your mind. To find about, it's all about relationship, to see this relationship. And you can also sense things in your mind and head. So your head is part of your body. Your mind is part of your body. So yeah, this is all about the trap of I'm being too sensitive. If this resonates with you, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, please follow, subscribe, like, share maybe with people who you think, this kind of could be for them, if you know what I mean. Like, they're always like, oh, I'm so sensitive. I just send it like as a hint. No one is too sensitive, and we are all sensitive. That's the main thing. And it's not about learning more, reading more, controlling it more with meditation, yoga, whatever you want to do. No, it's about embracing every sensation. Then you're fully living. It's not about eliminating certain places or people or trying to manage it through that. Embrace your sensitivity and that what you are sensing, because then you're starting to fully live. You're starting to feel more, to live more, and life will feel so much bigger and better than you could ever imagine. See you next time, and thank you so much for watching.